At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about a top city official's recommendations to address our city's massive budget deficit by eliminating over 200 jobs and cutting programs that fund services like road maintenance and community centers. We're also sharing some notes and recommendations from you, our listeners. Joining me on this midweek roundup is our very own executive producer, John Atariani. It's Wednesday, March 5th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Welcome, everyone, to our midweek microdose of news. John, thanks for joining me this morning.
Hey, good morning, Claudia.
If you're new to the show, today is the day we look at a local story and or updates to stories that we might have missed last week or over the weekend. And today we're looking at what our city administrator is suggesting to help narrow the city's growing budget gap. If you haven't been following the news, the city is facing a more than $150 million budget shortfall this year. So because of all this, City Administrator Michael Jordan, who is not the Michael Jordan you're thinking of, is recommending some really harsh cuts, which could also include hundreds of city workers losing their jobs. Now, John, I know you looked a bit deeper into all of what's happening and what our admin jump man is suggesting that we do. Like, where are we?
I'm missing the next basketball analogy here, but yeah, so we've been talking about this budget deficit for a long time. We're now looking at over $150 million, like you said. That includes both the general fund as well as some other parts of the government that aren't included in that general fund number. So Michael Jordan came out last week, gave us some ideas of what he recommends we might look at cutting. He proposed about $35 million in cuts to the general fund, also proposed about $65 million in non-general fund cuts. There is some overlap there. I won't drown you in the details of that. But like you said, 275 jobs potentially across the city could get cut. We could see cuts in community centers, sports facility hours, road maintenance, emergency preparedness programs, eviction legal defense programs, home repair grants. A lot of stuff is on the table. They're not immediately considering cuts to police and fire, but the city administrator doesn't have the final word on this. This is going to go through the mayor and city council over the next couple months, so they could decide to go back that way. There's a ton here. I can dig more into some of the specific proposed cuts are, but right off the top, what's your take on this?
Well, the 275 jobs across the city is immediately, I'm just like, no, no, we can't lose that many jobs. I'm sorry. I mean, I know it's not up to me, but just the thought. Also, just in our work, the last few years of covering the city, we've just come across a lot of really hard-working city and county workers, and you see their dedication, and the thought of them losing jobs just feels, I don't know. It really bums me out, John. I mean, I know everyone's just like, oh, the government, it's too fatty or whatever. But it's like, is it? Because a lot of people don't have enough staff, is what we've found. That's the first thing. The second is you were talking about how, the cuts could also mean the reduction of hours in community centers and sports facilities. But I'm hearing there's rumors right now that the St. John's Community Center might close, which is, I don't know if John, you've moved from St. John's, so this, you might have forgotten already.
Saint who? What? I've been gone for a couple weeks, Claudia. It hasn't been that long.
But the community center in St. John's Park, I live a block away from there. And every time I walk by that park, it is being used. It's a very well loved, and it's a community hub in our area. So if we're getting rumors that, they're thinking of closing the St. John's Community Center. I'm just wondering if other parts of the city are also hearing that about their local community centers. So I don't know. There's that. The last thing, John, that I will say is that, it's going to aggravate so many people who are already annoyed at the state and safety of our city roads for the city to be like, so we're not going to fill potholes.
Yeah.
Do you remember the vigilante pothole fillers?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They call themselves the Portland Anarchist Road Care Park. And this happened like around 2017. We had this huge snowstorm. The whole city shut down for like 8-9 days. It was the first time that everyone's like, Mayor Wheeler, I don't know about this guy. So there was a group of self-identified anarchists who took it upon themselves to repair potholes on city roads without official permission from the city, essentially acting as citizen road repairers by filling, anything that they saw was neglected by authority. And their whole thing is like, this is what anarchism is. This is going to show the veil of authority and power and how like it's all about direct action and helping your community. But it's against city code for you to do that. So I'm just thinking, if the city's like, hey, we're not going to do this, they should really put down that city code and let communities start filling their own potholes. Because what are we supposed to do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally feel you on all that. And I think that that's one of the things that's so painful about these types of cuts, right? There's certain parts of city government, certain parts of infrastructure that like you just can't screw with. So the things that end up getting cut are the things that are programs that are near and dear to a lot of people, things like pothole repairs and safety improvements, of course. I mean, other things that are being mentioned in this, like eviction legal defense programs, summer programs for kids. You mentioned the community center closure. As far as I can tell, there is no clear indication of like which one they might be considering. But of course, every community is going to be like, I hope it's not us.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the place where they're saying that they're probably not going to cut the police, but the one thing that they did put on the table as being something that like could be considered was reductions in the Portland Committee on Community Engaged Policing.
Like, what exactly does that mean?
I mean, community engaged policing is like, making time in the department for police to have meetings with community members and to sort of like have relationships with neighborhood groups, things like that.
Gotcha.
They didn't put a number on that, which I also thought was telling. They didn't want to like quantify how much that was, whereas a lot of the things in this memo had like numbers of how much money they would save. But yeah, it's going to be really hard to sort of like whittle down this list into the things that they're willing to cut because there's going to need to be probably a lot of them unless some wild new revenue source shows up and it's going to hurt.
Yeah. I also find it a little hypocritical of the city administrator, Michael Jordan, I love saying his name, John, to recommend that hundreds of people lose their jobs and that the city cut funding to key services that, some people are just like, this is what the city does. And he's literally the city's highest salaried employee and just last month received his third raise in a single fiscal year, according to Shane Dixon Kavanaugh, once again from the Oregonian. Just last year alone, Jordan received a $22,000 bump and his salary rose to $312,500. Now, that's not counting the $11,212 a month from the Oregon Public Employee Retirement System that he gets. That alone is more than I think you and I make together, John. Like,
and between us, we do as much as the city administrator of Portland.
Of course, exactly, John. And if you're like, what? Michael Jordan, this is a new position, so we actually don't know how useful he is. I'm sorry, John. It's not tested. This man is brand new position. I know it's a key position to our new form of government, but he's new, But in his defense, that's kind of in the middle of this salary range for his new position. So it's not like he's like at the very top. I think they brought him in kind of low and then they're bringing him up since he like signed on for the job because he was just an interim. Having said all that, Jordan isn't even the highest paid city employee. Like police officers and firefighters once again made up the bulk of the city's highest paid employees, comprising 46 of the 57 workers who received more than $250,000 this year alone. I hope people aren't equating this with me being like, oh, we should cut police officers and firefighters and all that because, we need firefighters, know, and of course we need police officers. But it's just one of those things where I'm just like, that seems kind of out of control. Like some of these people are making like more than both of our salaries together in overtime alone. That feels to me, I'm like, should the city administrator be looking at that maybe?
Well, I mean, there was a line in one of the very long documents that he released to the city and to the public. An additional suggestion was identifying additional possible reductions to enhance organizational efficiency under the new form of government. So between, sky-high salaries and what we just saw in the expansion of the city council and mayor's staffing, which just went into effect a couple weeks ago, it does seem like, look, we need people to run the government. We need these offices to be staffed with people to get things done. But efficiency is going to be really important too.
Yeah. Thank you so much for going through that with us. I mean, I saw the headlines, but I wasn't sure what exactly was going on. All I saw was just an immediate reaction of being like, no, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You're not our dad.
And it bears repeating, even though there are all these ideas on the table, there's a long road before any of these are decided upon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first, it has to go to city council. They're going to hold work sessions. They're going to have public input. And then this whole thing is going to be debated over the next several months until the mayor releases a final budget, probably in June. So, yeah, if you're a pothole aficionado and if you're just looking forward to more potholes in Portland, you have a couple more months to wait until you can have your dreams come true.
God damn it, John. All right, let's take a break here. And when we return, we're going to dig into our mailbag.
This episode is brought to you by Peacock. The new Peacock original documentary, Matthew Perry, A Hollywood Tragedy, dives deep into the beloved actor's rise to fame and his tragic death. 5 people, including Perry's personal assistant, 2 medical doctors, and an alleged Hollywood drug dealer known as the Ketamine Queen, were charged with conspiracy to illegally provide Perry with the ketamine. Explore the details of the case in this heartbreaking special, streaming now only on Peacock.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
All right, let's look into our mailbag. This is one of our things that we do during our midweek roundups. You can always email us at portland@citycast.fm. We love hearing from you. And one of the things that's happening, John, is we're becoming a community board. And I think you were gone the week that this happened, but a listener wrote in with like a 4-page email asking us for mozzarella Rex, basically fried mozzarella.
I was off, but I listened to this episode during my vacation. I was pulling into new seasons, and I was like riveted, waiting to hear these recommendations. I am totally on board. Let's go.
Okay, so Kendra P. wrote, please tell your listeners who need fried cheese about the sit tight on North Interstate. Their food is better than it has any right to be, including mozzarella sticks. Also, big courtyard patio and pinball. Matt E. wrote, check out the mozzarella sticks at Bon Chance on Alberta. They are the best I've had in Portland, and the owners prided themselves on keeping them on the menu. Full disclosure, my cousins James and Mark are the owners.
Well.
Listener Tanya M. wrote, I know. This is the one where I was like, John, I don't know. Slims. They have some of the best mozzarella sticks in town, cold beer and hot sticks, which, by the way, perfect tagline for a lot of things. Cold beer and hot sticks. Can't beat it. I just want to say to our listener who asked about mozzarella sticks, I'm not a mozzarella stick aficionado. I had Slim's mozzarella sticks. I don't know if I would say they're the best in town. That's all I'm going to say.
The thing about mozzarella sticks,
oh my God, you have a theory.
The thing about mozzarella sticks is a mozzarella stick is sort of like a dive bar. The best mozzarella stick is the one you have the moment you need it. I would say that my favorite mozzarella sticks were at Tom's Pizza and Sports Bar, which has closed, used to be on Lombard.
In University, right? Or Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Was it Portsmouth or University? One of those.
Somewhere, where does one end and the other begin? It could be in Kenton for all we know. But like, were those especially good? I don't know. Maybe one day I just really wanted mozzarella sticks and they hit the spot, you know?
Yeah.
But I am curious to try the upper crust of Portland mozzarella sticks. I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for some of these.
Yeah. Well, Michaela, if you are listening, that is the listener who was asking about these recommendations. It was for her birthday, too. She's like, I just want to have a good birthday, which was a lot of pressure, I got to tell you, John.
Yeah.
Someone's like, this is for my birthday. So we hope that one of those, I don't know, makes all your mozzarella stick dreams come true. Again, I don't know about Slim's. Slim's is lovely. The burgers are great. The Japanese food there is great. It'll make sense once you go in there. But I don't know about the mozzarella sticks. That's all I'm going to say.
What's not to like? It's a mozzarella stick.
Yeah.
As long as they're not still cold in the middle. That's like the kiss of death of a mozzarella stick, when you bite in and it's still like hard and chewy. Anyways, we did hear, actually, Claudia, I feel like our mailbag is just turning into the weekly food mailbag. because I also have some notes from listeners either asking for advice or giving more recommendations as well. This one is from Nate with the memorable subject line, "Help, I need some spice." So Nate identifies as a climate and political refugee from Texas. Here's what Nate says. "I can't seem to find any spicy food in Portland. I've tried places all over town and all different types of cuisine. I always order the food the spiciest they will make it, and it still comes out mild. The food here is tasty, but I like to break a sweat when I eat spicy food." And they say, "I live in Kenton, but I'm willing to travel far for some good food that will make me break a sweat." I will say I'm not like a huge spice hunter myself. I enjoy like a medium plus spice. So I don't have any recommendations. Claudia, you got anything for Nate?
Well, Nate, I have to agree with you that it is hard to get spicy food. I'm going to just assume that you are a person of a paler complexion, and I'm just going to let you know that you're going to find it even harder because it is a known, this isn't a stereotype, this is real. When I walk in to a Mexican restaurant, I will get spicier food than, say, John, if you were to walk in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even if you were to say, please,
good read
sir,
on my face. Yeah.
please, sir, may I get more spice? They're just going to be like, no, son, I don't believe you, because they've been yelled at before about their food being too spicy. And so, Nate, what I suggest is that you go back in time. I suggest that we...
Claudia, I thought you like actually locked up for a minute. You froze on video.
No, I was just imagining Nate going back in time, like preventing colonialism from happening, just like letting all
I thought
these
you were going to
cultures-
take us back to like 2002 when there was a restaurant you liked. You're actually trying to rewrite global history.
Yeah,
right?
if we rewrite global history and keep certain cultures intact without the subjugation of white supremacies and their taste, Nate, you would have all the spicy food in the world. That's just not going to happen. So I think you should just go past 82nd or go to Beaverton and Hillsborough. But Julia Fiaioni, our producer, just said Thai Champa food cart in the Union Jack's parking lot. Their hot is hot, regardless of who you are. Ha, ha, ha. So check that out. I've noticed that Indian food in town, if you ask for very spicy food, you will get very spicy food. I also suggest the fish wings at Mosaic Tap House. It's Vietnamese. Those are also very, very, very spicy. But listeners, let's help Nate eat out. He doesn't have a time machine, and he can't bring down white supremacy. So where should he go eat spice?
But he is willing to travel.
He is willing to travel.
Yeah.
on our plane in time.
Oh, gosh. Well, hey, I got one more for you. This is from Simon, harkening back to the bakery episode that we did last month. Simon says, "Not that you asked, but my vote for an excellent sandwich goes to Sebastiano's, who recently opened an adorable cafe in Selwood after serving from Montevilla for years. The muffaletta is incredible. They also have an exceptional tuna and olive oil cake."
Ooh.
Which sounds great. Yeah, one for Sebastiano's.
Have you had a muffaletta? I've never had it. I keep hearing about it.
Oh, yeah. I've made myself a muffaletta before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get like the whole loaf of bread. Like that's how you make a muffaletta. You make it on like an entire loaf of bread. So you have like an entire loaf of muffaletta.
That sounds nice.
But I'm sure Sebastiano's is better than whatever crap I cooked up.
Awesome. Well, he also asked about what Hasidic bakery I used to work at, because it was this episode where we were talking about best bakeries, and I threw some deep lore about my 20s. And I just got to tell you, Simon, I don't remember. I'm so sorry. It was in the Lower East Side. It was on 2nd Avenue.
Claudia was living that rock and roll lifestyle.
I really
she doesn't
was.
remember.
No, but I was looking at Google Maps around St. Mark's is where I was staying, and I just could not find it. And I'm like, I don't know if it's still there,
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for writing in. Again, if you want to reach out to us, it's portland@citycast.fm. John, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Yeah, it's always fun. Thanks, Claudia.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend, rate or leave us a review. It really does help us out. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you, it's limbs.